My name is John, and I am the co-founder of Brick+Work. We're an online platform that provides real estate development feasibility reports. Super simple. You go on our website, register, send us the address, and we'll go ahead and provide a report within 1 day. Um, so, you know, what value does our reports provide agents and developers? And really, it's simple. A lot of LA zoning code and LA land use planning is super difficult to navigate. So we provide in a condensed report, which I'm going to go through here now. It'll be an easy way for you guys to kind of see what the site will yield as far as max units and some other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start my share now. And this is really more of a presentation, again, to talk about a specific site. So this one in particular is, so Prospecting Land Development Deals, Keller Williams, is off of Wilshire and Crescent Heights. 6232 to 6254 Wilshire Boulevard. And as you can see, it's a current existing retail site. It's not on the market. We picked this site specifically for a number of reasons. And one of those, obviously, it's a corner lot. It's off of Wilshire Boulevard. As you're going to see on the next slide here, it actually yields a lot of units. So on the left-hand side here, this is a preview of a report we're actually going to be launching here in the next month. It's not the reports that we currently provide, but the information is the same. All we've done here is we're going to kind of change the design up based on the feedback from everybody. So on the left-hand side here, this is in the Miracle Mile, right, area or neighborhood. The property size itself is about 40,000, a little over 40,000 square feet. It's one lot. So this is the reason why we chose it, right? It's a corner lot right off of Wilshire. So we provide the existing conditions here. You're going to get the current zoning, which is a C4-2D. So, and obviously this is in the Wilshire Community Plan, Mid-City West. So on the left-hand side is really what I wanted to highlight is really going to be kind of our, provide value for the agents here. So if you take a look, we're giving you the buy right and then the transit-oriented community. So this is a tier 3 and a density bonus program. Look, those are the 3 columns of what you're able to do. So the floor area ratio is by right 3-to-1, which means that you're able to net a max units of 204. But if you utilize transit-oriented communities or TOC, it jumps up obviously to 349 units. And if it's not within the TOC zone, you could always default back to the state's density bonus program, and that's 277 units. But what comes with that is the affordable element, right? 10%, 14, and 23. We'll go over that a little bit more in detail later or through the Q&A. But I want to go back down here. So obviously we've calculated the setbacks and the buildable area for all 3. And then what I really wanted to cover, obviously on the right-hand side is the parking and open space requirements. Now, the parking, and I want to I'm going to go back to this, but so the parking, and this was a good point from the last webinar, Lori Lustig-Bauer from CBRE shared, is just because the space or the lot or the parcel is not requiring for you to park it, right? The developers still have to make a decision ultimately. Are they able to rent these units without providing a parking space, right? And even then, it's the decision of the developer to decide, well, do I provide 1 parking space for a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, or do I do 2, or do I do 1 or 0? So again, this is development specific, but the flexibility that TLC provides is obviously less parking, half a space per unit. Now, is that feasible? Depends, but I wanted to kind of stress that point. I don't think we did that last time, so I definitely wanted to provide that insight as well. But beyond that, I'm going to go back into here because what's really important is I want to really go into detail on this part, okay? And on the right hand or the left hand side is our Brick+Work financial feasibility calculator. It's the back of the napkin. It's really a powerful tool for agents to use. What is it? What does it do? So on the left-hand side, if on our website, you will see that these are enterable, are fillable, are things that you want to kind of tinker with to figure out what it's going to net. And so the building type, we put type 3, but because of the amount of units, it could either be a type 5 or even a type 1. So, and then the one being an all steel downtown Los Angeles high-rise or tower. Land cost, again, I just put here 20 million. This could be based on what you feel are the comps for this retail shopping strip, right? So however way you look at comps, whether you use CoStar, any of the other tools that are out there, it's to really make a distinction on, okay, if the owners of this retail strip think they could sell it for 20 million or 10 million, what would a developer pay for? And then, what's the difference? How much more would that net the owner? And would that, obviously, with the higher price, bring up the likelihood that they will sell? The rents in the area per square foot, $4.50, a target cap rate. So that could be 5% to 6%. You could kind of play with those numbers. And when you press calculate, we kind of run through average construction cost per build type. As you can see, there's a total development budget. You have, kind of net operating income after gross annual rents and expenses. And then the valuation, and it ultimately comes down to a internal rate of return. Okay, so that's a tool that you can use on the website. So that kind of ends the kind of going through the report. So we'll go back to this, right? I really want to make this more of an ability for Q&A. So you have the Q&A box there. If you guys could ask or raise your hand, we really want to be able to address your questions. I know I sped through that, but hopefully it will bring up some questions as far as, the next part of this is this. So we launched last year and we've had our early adopters from CBRE, Marcus Millichap, Compass Commercial, and what we've noticed other commercial brokers are using these reports for at scale is to prospect for listings. Now that's what I really want to go into, right? Prospect for listings. So, obviously if they already have a listing and they want to add the layer of the marketing, by all means, what you do is you take our Brick+Work report, all this information, and then you put it in your offering memorandum or your OM, and now you have an ability to market it with developers. That's powerful enough, right? For existing inventory, existing listings. What's more powerful and what our power users are using it on a day-to-day, and we're seeing, given the pandemic and everyone's working remotely, is that they're starting to prospect for listings. And so what I mean by prospecting is, so this site that you're seeing right now that I just shared is off of Wilshire and Crescent Heights. Well, what's so significant about that site? It's literally on the Purple Line extension, right? So, you're gonna get a high walking score that developers like. You're gonna get a mixed use site where you can use retail and you can use residential on top. You're gonna get 349 max units on here. Most of the developers we talk to need a minimum of 150 to 200 to pencil the site. So, the more, the better. Again, it's on a major street, Wilshire Boulevard. It's a corner lot, so ingress, egress, super easy to design, to mass it. You know, everything checks off. So that's why we picked this site. So let me go into a little bit more deeper now for you guys is, so what happens from here, right? So you pulled the report, you know, this report is one lot, so it's $50 if you were a novice user, right? Literally that report that you have, that you see is $50. So what do you do with the report? Well, what we've noticed also is, given the pandemic, and now as you guys see on the news, everyone's opening up and they're already talking about a second wave that's going to be even bigger. So what does that necessarily mean for property owners, retail owners, businesses? Well, this is going to be, we feel, more of an opportunity where landowners, right, the owners of that shopping strip, for this example, or any other shopping strips, are going to be more open to what? Either an outright sale of their properties or a joint venture. And this is feedback that we're already getting from developers that are saying that landowners are more open to this. Why? Because these small businesses aren't coming back, right? It's obviously sad that they're not, but now the property owners have to kind of shift their mindset on what that property means for them. It's not going to net the consistent passive income for them that they thought they were going to be getting for years, right? On when they purchased it. So if they're not going to get that, and there's still a housing crisis, there's still, you know, not enough units in LA and affordable rent. You know, there's those issues post-pandemic that's still happening, right? You know, I think this is the opportune time for agents to start to prospect, to go through a lot of these retail strips that weren't, you know, maybe they were not entertaining an offer, and to start prospecting them for the potential of being offered. But what Brick+Work reports do is we act as the tool to be able to, you know, provide information both ways. Okay, so with that being said, I want to address the first question. Oh, and I forgot, I'm sorry, we were kind of going back and forth on, before we started this webinar, we weren't giving some time for the attendees to show up. But so Tucker and Mia are also on here. And so they're part of our Brick+Work team that really handles the land use, the reports. So if you guys have any specific questions on the reports, I want to share that with you, and they're going to be able to answer your questions as well. So the first question I see from Jennifer, thank you so much, is, can this be used for residential investors? Yes, of course. So that question now ties into what we're also providing. And I know we just got a report, Tucker, that they were asking about 2 ADUs on a site, or an ADU and a junior ADU, right? Accessory dwelling units, those granny flats. So we're going to start providing that information at scale for Brick+Work. We launched 4 apartments, 4 mixed use, right? That was our initial reports and the reason why we were providing you know, value for agents. But now, you know, we're starting to provide ADUs. So like, you know, what's the hot neighborhood? West Adams, right? So, you know, if you get a big 10,000 square foot lot in West Adams or anywhere else, right, and you want to figure out if you could build 1 or 2 ADUs on site, we'll provide those reports. So this can be used for the single lot investors, the subdivision developers, right? They want to build 2 duplexes, 1 duplex, 1 ADU, combination of either or. We can provide that as well. We can also start to provide other commercial uses. Now, you know, that it could be flex industrial space, flex warehouse space, you know, post-pandemic. I don't know about co-working or co-living, but it could still provide offices, because I think office you know, owners are starting to adjust to provide the social distancing to have workers come back here in the coming months. So I see another question, John Adams. For agents that are prospecting large territories, how can they leverage Brick+Work on the cold call if they don't have the report available? Right, so I think it's better to, and what I've noticed with some of our power users that have shared this with me is how they do it is, look, if they're covering a large area, I mean, it could be the Valley, that's a huge area, or Orange County, like, okay, like, what are you going to be looking for? What, all of this. I wouldn't actually, you know, market just the large territory. I would look for specific properties like the example that I just shared, which is essentially where it's going to check the boxes for most developers, right? So most developers really want 150, 200 plus units. They want to be, again, on a high walking score, very close to mass transit, Purple Line, Red Line, Gold, Expo, any of the subways and rail and even intersecting bus lines. But I would start off with specific properties. And what the power users have told us is this. They go, okay, well, look, I'm gonna have a couple in Miracle Mile for the Purple Line extension. I'm gonna find a couple for the Crenshaw connector, right, from LAX all the way up. I'm going to find some properties there. I'm going to find some properties for Inglewood with this stadium being built. So, we'll pick some properties there. And the goal is not to mass get everything in that neighborhood on a Brick+Work report, even though we would love that, right? It's probably a better use if you were to pick a few properties that were ideal zoning. Again, commercial zone is probably the best zoning because it's going to allow you to build more residential units, but mix that with commercial as well. But you can also look for R4. You can have, R3, and you could, combine them. Like in Koreatown, you can have 4 or 5 lots right next to each other, all R3 or R4. Maybe they're most likely TLC tier 3. And, the net effect of those units end up being 100, 120 units you can build. So that's another a good site to prospect for. But to answer your question, John, I would specifically look for certain properties and start to market them to developers, because the developers, even if you cold email them, if you have a site with a Brick+Work report attached, they take you more seriously, right? The developers will probably answer back and start to tell you, well, this is not for them, but can you look for this? So it's also kind of a networking tool that the commercial brokers are definitely using it for, to start conversations with different developers. Next question, Carlos, how far out of LA do you go? Do you cover Bakersfield and Fresno? So we cover all of LA County, Orange County, and I gotta share this, even in those areas, obviously Fresno is not something that we're covering now. I think Bakersfield, we could probably do research and start to cover that as well. But more denser urban cities have stricter zoning laws and rules, right? That's just how it is. So LA City is where we started for a reason, because there's a lot of red tape, a lot of queue conditions, a lot of different things that will be in the way regarding being able to build something. When you go out to the desert communities, I think I was in Palm Springs past couple of days, but like Cathedral City and Palm Desert, it's open. Go and look at some land and present something to the planning department. My experience with developers that build in desert communities is they're very, very, very accommodating. Okay, so I'm going to throw that out there. Any of those areas, typically Bakersfield, it's going to be very accommodating. We could probably start to look and to incorporate that. We will be expanding to San Diego, but we kind of wanted to, given this pandemic, really focus more still on LA. There are still a lot of land, a lot of sites locally here. Jennifer, I have an investor who asked me for an 8% rate investment for residential. Can I use this for that? Yeah, absolutely. So I want to clarify. So the 8% rate is the 8% cap rate, right? So if that's the case, then yes, but with an asterisk, okay? So this, back of the napkin calculator that we provide, right, on our reports is really meant for development and very, we're not replacing a developer's underwriting, right? Like some developers have 200-300 line Excel spreadsheets. They use regression analysis tools to go, what's best case, what's worst case, given, X amount of variables. Like, we're not doing that here. We're just doing hey, what does this site net? Is it interesting enough for me to invest time to underwrite? That's all that tool is. But Jennifer, to answer your question, yeah, this is the start of a conversation. Your investors want to probably see a lot more opportunities, right? And if you present this to them, this is something that they could be interested in, right? If they are a developer, they already know all this stuff. And most of the developers that are our users, we just save them time, and they really want more agents using Brick+Work because they want to see more sites. So that's a call to all the agents here, and however, hopefully we can spread this webinar and this message out through all the KW agents. But yeah, loud and clear, all the developers are looking for opportunity. Not enough agents providing the right opportunities for them. It's a very niche kind of thing. That's been our challenge. There's so few agents, even from CBRE down to Keller Williams commercial, that really know how to, prospect and broker land sites, right? And that's the problem. We now have a solution. We have, and let me just throw this out there. We're going to give a link to everyone, at least who RSVP'd the CCIM webinar that we did last week. And Lori Lustig-Bauer from CBRE mentioned in there that we're the #1 tool for her team. She kind of mentions that before Brick+Work, her team was scouring through, 500 pages of a specific plan just to make sure that nothing in there prevents what the developer wants to do, because the developer is their client, and that could be a $1 million mistake or millions of dollars in a mistake by not catching that, or the queue condition. There's so many layers of restrictions that unless you're a land use consultant planning, right, experience, you're not going to know. You're not going to have an ability to find. We do that for you on our reports. So I want to throw that out there. Hopefully, if you guys have more questions, please feel free to ask, because I think this is a tool that we're trying to kind of spread the message for more and more. Too few agents use the reports to be able to get these listings, but I mean, what better time than now? Like I said, there's that one aspect of retail alone. If 20% of small businesses fail post-pandemic, what's going to happen with that land, with those properties, with the property owners, right? So that alone should spur a lot of the agents, you guys, to start to be prospecting for those, right? Hey, a developer would love this land opportunity. So here's a Brick+Work report. Here's the initial thing. You could build 349 units. Even this site, I mean, there's, let me do this share real quick. I see that question about, I'll address it, but let me just go back here. Now that I have this message regarding this site is amazing. This site here is amazing. It is literally a corner lot off Wilshire. Come on, headed into Beverly Hills, right, and the west side. The purple line. It's one lot that's 40,000 square feet. It's crazy. 349 units. So this falls into the category for a lot of developers to build on. I'm telling you this, I can't stress that enough, right? This site, I'll send you this report. Any agents that are watching this right now, if you want it, we'll send it to you. Go, have at it. I mean, I don't have to tell you. Well, I do have to tell you, sorry. So, because this webinar is specifically how do agents use the reports, right, to put more deals together. Take this report. If you want to disclose the address, by all means. Now, this has to be agent specific. You can disclose it. You could say sign a exclusive buyer's agreement with me so I could share it, which is would probably be a good idea as well. I would defer back to your manager or your broker to let you know what you can and can't do, but whatever way you decide, you share this report with as many developers as you can. I'm not going to go into detail on how you pull up developers, but Urbanize LA is a great resource that tells you what developments are happening in any particular neighborhood. So you could start pulling a list from there. You could go to LinkedIn. Anybody with a developer on their kind of profile can have that. So just share it, mass share it. You're going to get responses. Whether or not they're interested or not, if they're interested, then start the conversation. Get the information on who owns that property site. See if they're willing to sell outright or joint venture. Now that's negotiations. That's what agents do all the time. You guys are always in the middle of two different parties negotiating. So you know, that's something that would be the next progression there. But again, the likelihood of the owners owning it for years would have never thought to sell or joint venture on that site because it does so well for them that, you know, set it and buy it and forget it, right? Post COVID-19, it changes the game for them. And so a lot of the, you know, commercial users, our power users, recognize that and are requesting a lot more reports because of that. Okay, I think, John, you had another question. I think the struggle.
Wait, John, we're still, the next one we haven't hit yet is Carlos's question. When I requested a report, I sent a picture. The answer is yes. If you have a render or another image that you want to use for a report that you request, then we can accommodate that and have that be the picture that shows up in the top left corner there.
Awesome. Yeah. And we chose that as just a rendering that we get from an architect of ours, and Jeff, he shared a few that didn't get, you know, doesn't apply to any particular development. So we just use that for now. But yeah, for marketing purposes, you could send us anything you want. This is for your case. John, I think the struggle for many agents is the basic understanding needed to explain the report. Do you guys have a one-on-one video or something similar? Yeah.
We do. We have them on our YouTube right now. We have, like, we cover the basics like FAR and setbacks and everything like that. We can obviously share those links. I'll need to track those down.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys can, Tucker, if you can track that down while we're, and we'll share this here. And then obviously once this recording is done, we're going to share all of this. John, I know you're in here to we'll edit this out and we'll send this to you directly to send to all the other KW agents as well, commercial agents as well. So, you know, with this recording, with the YouTube link, and yeah, I agree. I think even now, there's still a disconnect between agents and this report. I absolutely agree. So that video that we're gonna send you a link for covers really step by step. I was hoping to get more questions from agents on this report. We have Tucker and Mia right now that could explain, what does floor area ratio mean? What does you know, max units mean? I'm even thinking of doing a animation video of the report and its potential, meaning, you know, pull a report. Well, this is a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me, right? Like, I don't understand what floor area rate, what does a setback mean? Why does height and all of this even matter? Well, I think we can explain that with an animation video, which will just be like any architect that uses CAD and they start the massing model. That's exactly what they do. They look at these numbers, type it in to CAD, and all of a sudden it goes, here's your flat land, here's the setbacks, here's the box, here's the parking, and it just starts to increase. And then they can obviously do unit mixes where they go, how many 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 1 bedroom studios? And that kind of then sets the table inside for the fire escape, the stairway, right, the elevator, right? They start to really design the actual building. But I think concept-wise, John, you're right. Agents have to understand all this mumbo jumbo means is, what can you build on this particular site and how much is it worth for a developer? So this site that I just shared, 349, right, units. even if it's 100,000 a door, which a lot of agents or a lot of developers can pay. And look, it ranges, right? So I'm not going to say that a developer will pay 100,000 a door for this site. It could be 50,000 a door, 75. It's all neighborhood specific, and that developer's willingness to build. But even if it's 100,000 a door, you're looking at $35 million for the site. So let's just say the comps for this retail strip is 25 million, right? Or 28, or it'll be less now, I think, right? That's another thing. The valuation's got to be getting lower. So if it's 25 million and this could sell up to 35 million, that's 10 million more that you could get for this property, right? So what does that mean for agents? I don't know. It's that, the ability to broker a deal at 35 million for a developer would be huge, right? You'd be involved in there with that developer, broker it, and, obviously earn that commission. It's going to be a huge commission check, right? And I'm not saying that, you're going to be doing these once a month. It'd be great, I'm sure, right, for a lot of agents. But even if you do one of these transactions a year and you supplement all of the other things you're going to be doing, that's huge. So I don't know. I'm sounding the alarm bells. Our power users definitely know this opportunity, and they've been requesting these reports at scale. And now we really want to share this to the masses because that only benefits us, right? We're a startup to help as many agents as possible be successful. That's it. We have no, there's no other reason except for that. The more you guys are on this platform, pulling reports, prospecting, we're successful. But then during that search for a deal, your Rolodex of developers starts to increase. How do you think it increases? This is the best way to increase it, is to send them properties with correct information. Brick+Work reports, boom, right? Like, so they start receiving the reports and they're like, look, love that you're sending me these properties, but I need something else. Can you look in this neighborhood for me? I'm still wanting the last little big project in Hollywood, so find me that. My investors love Hollywood. Whatever, right? Every developer, hundreds, if not thousands of them, have their own specific niche that they want to build. It's the agent's job, just like the residential buyers and sellers, the same thing. You just have to match what they want with the inventory out there. So this is just a tool to get through those transactions. So yeah, okay, cool. Yes, an illustration of explanations on each section of the report would be great. I kind of get it, but I usually end up covering the number of units, TOC, because the rest is gray area. I print that out and prospect with it, mail to owners, blah, blah. Yeah, right? So I agree. I don't necessarily think you need to explain too much more than that, if that makes sense. Because look, what even the developers are dealing with what they're telling us is they're getting still, I mean, even pre-pandemic, hundreds of emails from every agent trying to pitch and market the site. They don't even have time to go through all of them, is what I'm saying. We've been having them as users just so the few that they pick and choose, they could get a Brick+Work report and then they could underwrite, because it takes a lot of time to underwrite these properties. So Carlos, to answer your question, the developers, they actually, I hate to say this, don't need us as Brick+Work because they know all of this information as well, right? They have their land use consultant, my partner Alex. They have someone internally, MRED grad or urban planning grad that's doing this. So, or they have a team of them, depending on how big the developer is. They just need you as an agent to bring them a deal and at least, cover the initial due diligence, right? They're just like, I don't want a site where if I spend another hour, I uncover the Q condition. I uncover something in the specific plan that says, nope, you were all wrong, right? Does that make sense? I don't want to double check all of your calculations. So you don't need to cover all that sections is what I'm trying to tell you. The developer just wants to know, give me the Brick+Work report, right? Like, we know exactly what each section means. When you say illustration, explanation, who are you explaining it to? The developers. Developers know it. This is the easiest thing ever. You don't have to explain a thing. Unless you're brokering to flippers or just people that never developed before, then I would say good luck to that, right? Like, I would not recommend that at all. Don't bring someone into development. Like that's another thing altogether. They should be talking directly with developers. So anyways, that's to that. Oh, send you the report. Yeah, after this webinar is done, we're gonna be sending everybody that attended only, not RSVP. You guys, I'm gonna reward you guys with this report. So everyone that attended, you're gonna get a copy of this report. Have at it, right? This is the nature of the business, right? Just whoever takes the initiative to send this out to developers and start to get feedback. Yeah, tell me more about the site. Is it for sale? And then you guys can look at the property ownership information through those tools that you guys have access to then reach out to them and say, I have developers interested. That's all you. So we'll send that to you. We'll send the recording of this again as well. And Austin, yep, we'll send it to you. Cool. All right, guys. I mean, look, we definitely want to partner with Keller Williams. I think Keller Williams was the early office that we did lunch and learns, and we were trying to figure out how to deliver this message. Unfortunately, we didn't pick up. I think I realized that there were a lot of glazed expressions and looks in the crowd where they still didn't get it. And I have been ever since trying to figure out how to custom tailor this message so it makes sense. But if it boils down to it, all this means is an opportunity to earn more commission in a time where the need is there. That makes sense. There's always been a developer need. The developers have always been looking for good properties. I could tell you there hasn't been a shortage of demand for developers. What has been the barrier of entry? The land, the properties themselves. Who's delivering it? Who's delivering the right ones? What are all the rules in place by the city that doesn't allow what the developer wants to do? That has always been the sticking point. And the inventory, if the landowners of retail strips, they've owned it for 20, 30 years and they're never going to sell, this is the time, that the first time ever, I think, that they're willing to entertain selling or even joint venturing. So does that make sense? Like, I think that's the kind of message I want to get across now. Now's the opportunity. Pull reports, prospect, network, add this into your repertoire of deal flow. That's really the message. So Carlos, on my end, it's more for getting listings to impress the owner of the property and let them know. Yeah, that too. For West Adams or any other neighborhood that can net 2 duplexes or a ADU or 2 ADUs. I mean, there are properties and instances where you could get 2 ADUs. Did you know that? No. Do you want to get that information from us? Yes. Maybe Tucker, we can go through another recorded webinar or video, whatever, talking about ADUs itself, just different examples of sites, and go, why does this site net 2 ADUs versus 1, right? Like, we could always kind of share that. And so, Carlos, that could be something that you can impress your sellers with, the knowledge that you not only know about that, but you have the report with all the information from us, and that you're going to, market that to builders, developers, flippers, right? With that want to do that. So again, it's for ADUs, it's for smaller lot subdivisions, right? 2 duplexes. It could be for those people that build condos at attached 8 townhouses. Highland Park, I think, has a couple projects like that. But they're smaller townhouses. They're next to each other. They're attached. They receive the developer apply for a tract map, but they have to still get the initial due diligence to figure out, can they build 8, right? Like, what's the setbacks? What's the height? What's this? What's that? We'll provide that. Okay, so townhouse or condo developers or builders for those sites. Smaller lot subdivisions, ADUs, 349, right? Mixed use tower project. Everything in between, we're going to be providing you guys. Okay, so all right, I think I'm gonna. Do you guys have anything to share, Mia or Tucker?
We'll put in a link to the YouTube and a link to the report and this recording in the email to all the attendees. Oh, I think Tucker, you just
found the YouTube. I thought thought we had it split up into individual things, but this is basically the full video of a masterclass that we did probably about a year ago or so, where we basically go through what each thing means in the report. So if you watch that, that should be what you're looking for in terms of the information. But also another thing that we want to try to incorporate on our site is having like a glossary backup, so you can basically like hover over something that's on the report and it'll give like a brief overview of it.
Yeah, so John, I know you're in here, so I definitely will send everything out. If we need to set up another date for the KW agents to be in here and interacting, or however way, we just, you know, this is the time. This is definitely the time remotely to prospect and add this type of business into this year and moving forward. I mean, it is the opportune time to be reaching out to commercial property owners, I feel. So, all right, well, thank you guys for attending, and really appreciate the questions, and we'll send this out, and we'll hope to see you guys soon. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you, Mia, for helping to set up, and yeah.
Also, one last question from Austin Chen. The website address is brickwork.la.
Yes, brickwork.la.
In the chat.
In the chat, yeah, I just did.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there's different variations of our name. We're not correcting everyone. We're just making sure that you understand where to go to get these reports. So yeah, brickwork.la, you know, Brickworks, Brick+Work, there's Brick+Work. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could call us, which is fine, but just as long as you know how to get to the website, it's great. Oh, last thing. So we're wanted to announce a partnership with KW, residential, KW, commercial, anybody that works at KW, right? We will provide a discount code. We could provide it now, actually. It's active. It's KW15. You will get a 15% discount off of our specialist and our pro plans. The specialist, again, is $100 a month. You get 5 reports. The pro, you get, it's $250 and you get 15. All of our plans are month to month. We've had that from the onset. We are still going to have that. You're not going to be locked into anything, because again, the whole thing is to come in here, find value, get close to closing a deal, and closing a deal. When you close a deal and you earn that commission, you'll see how much insignificant that cost is when you can net a closed deal. Okay, so wanted to throw that out there. KW15. When you log it or when you register onto the account, just put that discount in, or even just contact us if you feel that it didn't go in, and we'll make sure that it applies for your account. Okay.
We'll also put it in the email.
Yes, in the email as well. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for attending. I appreciate it. We're sending this report just to you guys, and have a great day.